Hello, agents. Welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by PkmnTrainerJ. Ingress Insights aims to give you the latest news and updates about the Niantic Spatial game Ingress. Whether you're a veteran agent who has recursed 17 times or a brand new agent working to level 8, wondering what a fracker is, this is your place for the latest Ingress news and discussions. 2026 sees Ingress renewed under Niantic Spatial and many new campaigns to engage agents. So, plenty to discuss. Share any thoughts by checking our social media links. Now, over to Ada.
Additional intel available.
Hello, agents, and welcome to episode 166 of the Ingress Insights podcast. This week, we're looking at the new badge that's available for the Apollo Anomaly series. We've had a new update to the Ingress app and some changes to Second Sunday, which will likely carry on going forward. Before we get into that, I know last week there wasn't an episode. Unfortunately, I changed to medication I take, and it tired me out, so I had no NG for about the past week, but I'm all good now, back to normal. As part of that, there won't be any bonus content for this episode, just whilst I get back into the swing of things, but bonus episodes for Patreon users will continue from next week. All that being covered, let's get into the Anomaly news first of all, the Apollo Anomaly series. So what's new for Apollo? Not a lot, unfortunately, but there are a few little bits to go for the Anomaly news for this season. Firstly, in the store, we've got the second of the 3 character badges for the Apollo series. So we've got Yuri Alaric Nagasa 2026, and his badge costs 30,800 CMU and comes with 2 rare kinetic capsules, much the same as Ezekiel Calvin 2026. I suspect the Operative 855 2026 badge will come in September, as we start to get into the last set of anomalies on there. The August 1st Saturday was a few weeks back now. We're still waiting for Apollo results from that, which will add to the season score for the attendees for both Resistance and Enlightened. Next weekend, we do have the XM anomalies on the ground in Seoul, South Korea, and Paris, France. So those will be exciting to see the results from that. I did intend to go to France to attend the anomaly there, but unfortunately with starting a new job basically at the start of the year, I've not had the time or resources to do that. So maybe next year I'll be able to attend some anomalies. Then we got a bit of news about the Apollo anomaly in Denver, which is on in September. So the NL1331 X-Fan, along with some Ingress team members, which you understand are now Brian and Slack Farmer, they'll be hosting a meetup at Yazoo Barbecue, which is at 2150 North Broadway on Saturday and Sunday from 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. And as part of the meetup, you can order merch from the Ingress merch store, which you can then pick up in person. You got to make sure you do that by the September 15th at 5 p.m. And if ordering with Apollo on-site pickup, remember to include your first and last name, address and email, phone number when you place the order, and have your confirmation email ready to show on there. So it sounds like a bit of a fun thing where the team are there and they're just looking at doing a fun little tie-in event, some Ingress-themed barbecue. I don't know how you Ingress-theme meat, whether there'll be green and blue hot dogs or something like that. I don't know the place and location, what kind of stuff they normally do, but they did mention that there'll be a special $7 sandwich deal for all agents attending at Yazoo Barbecue for that one between 11 p.m. and 1 p.m. So if you're already going to Denver, the NL1331 X-Fan, the actual van will be there. So I assume you can get loads of photos with it. And then obviously get your tick on your NL1331 badge as well for hacking the portal. And basically have lots of fun at the anomaly, lots of food, and then greet Brian and Slack Farm, ask them a bunch of questions. If anyone's attending and wants to ask Brian about Fitbit rewards for me, so that he's not fed up of just getting it from me directly, that would be fantastic. But obviously, the main bit there is have fun, enjoy the anomaly, get lots of points for your faction. So focus on that first of all. That is about it for Apollo and anomaly news. So I'll move into general Ingress news now. Level 8 week is wrapping up, so you've only got a few hours really to get this done. It finished on Monday, the 17th of August, 6 p.m. UTC. Just a reminder, we're getting double AP and Apex is boosting AP to triple, so you get 6 times AP during level 8 week with an Apex. You get dual deploy of level 8 resonators, dual deploy of portal mods, you can deploy 4 yourself. Drone cooldown reduced to 8 minutes, so you can zoom around the map. Successful glyph hacking is rewarding 80 AP, and the experimental weapon tuning we found out is regarding the decreasing the range of the XMP bursts but increasing the attack of them, as has been done for previous events. And there's the 3 campaigns that are running as well. So you get the Machina Forever 2026 one for free, and the Resistance Forever and Enlightened Forever ones cost 2,500 CMU each. And then you can also pick up the patch badges that are 2,500 CMU each for Resistance, Machina, and Enlightened. So you may want to pick those up from the store before the end of Monday. We also have the corporate synergy events running until the end of August, so August 31st, 6 p.m. UTC. That is where you can earn the NIA 2026 medal for free, and then there's the IQ Tech 2026, the Hulong Trans Global 2026, and the Tech 2026 medals. For those campaigns, it's 15,000 CMU each for those, and they'll take you through various bits on there. For my progress, I've completed the IQ Tech, the Hulong Trans Global, and the Tech ones. I'm also going through, I don't know which number of revisions it is of the NIA one that you can do a few different times on there. So I've got a few bits left to do on that one. And then for the free level 8 week Machina Forever, again, I'm looping around again on that one just to get some more Apollo tokens and pick things up on there. Obviously, you've got the campaign for the Apollo tokens on your dispatch screen as well. So I think I've only got like 4,000 or something like that to go to then get the gold Apollo medal. So hopefully I should get that before the end of the 45 days. Speaking of the Apollo tokens, we had a change to second Sunday this last second Sunday. So previously, the additional rewards for completing the task would be 1 AP, 3 AP, 3 AP, 1 AP for 1331 on there. However, it now changed to Apollo tokens. So I think that's going to encourage some people to try and do all of the tasks on second Sunday and get the extra Apollo tokens on there if they are running a bit short and need to get that in time. And then finally, for Ingress News, we had an app update this week. So we're now on version 3.13.1. So it says agents who buy the codename token choose their current codename, such as Devra with a small d to Devra with a capital, or Hunk Johnson, change their mind and will keep Hunk Johnson. Uploading 13 portal scans for the same port within a sector cycle immediately deploys a fracker. So this should have already happened, but I saw comments from agents say it only worked if it was a single agent uploading all 13 of those portal scans. If you upload 6 and your friend uploads 7, then it didn't happen on there for whatever reason, so that seems to have been fixed now. They also updated the Intel map to use API keys instead of Google Maps platform client IDs. So obviously that needed doing, so they've done that. That is about it for general Ingress news. Things are a little quiet as we start to head towards the end of the Apollo Anomaly season, because we've got this one at the end of August, next week in August, and then we've got the ones in September, and then that's it for Anomalies. We've got obviously the Halloween event we'll have in October, the anniversary event in November. We usually get some kind of event in December and the new year, but it's going to be a bit quieter, I think, for Q3 going into Q4 for Ingress. To wrap things up, I'm going to move into covering the Ready for Recon section next, and then probably finish things off from there. OPR/Recon is still not back yet after being paused. However, I think it's important we still go over and kind of refresh on the rules, get ready for Recon coming back. So I want to go over some criteria clarifications. The next one up is being cemeteries and other sensitive locations. Obviously, with being sensitive locations, it's a bit of a divisive one, again, with military bases covered last time. But this is the current guidance at the moment for cemeteries and other sensitive locations when you're doing reviews or submitting things, when we get that option back. Sensitive locations such as funeral homes, burial grounds, cemeteries, and graveyards should generally be avoided out of respect, but gravestones belonging to historical figures or significant community figures can be eligible if the nominee provides evidence for their historical importance. They show an image of a gravesite decorated with pencils, and they say it's a good example of a gravesite of community importance and can be considered eligible if proper context is provided. Harvey Picard was a famous comic book artist, and his fans come to leave pens and marks in the gravesite as a memorial to him. This activity has been approved by the family and cemetery. It helps make this a unique point of interest. Across this, churches, chapels, shrines, war or veteran memorials, religious sculptures are not part of the grave, are also eligible for consideration if they are publicly accessible. And they show some chapels above as good examples for unique architecture within cemeteries. Controversial memorial sites. Places that eulogize slavery, racism, or other acts of oppression and portray them in a positive light are not eligible and should be rejected as sensitive locations. For example, sites in the United States, such as Confederate cemeteries, grave sites, and memorials, are not eligible unless the site is now part of a museum that provides educational value. Proper evidence must be provided that the site is used for such purposes. Sensitive memorial sites that do provide educational value may not all be considered eligible, however. For example, places like Auschwitz-Birkenau may provide a lot of educational value through their museum and programming, but are also active sites of mourning. As a result, they should be rejected as sensitive locations out of respect. And they have a little note down here that says, in certain jurisdictions, there are also legal considerations that need to be taken into account, and as such, otherwise eligible nominations, all the locations mentioned above, may not be accepted there. I did want to highlight what the old criteria was for when there was the OPR candidate action guide. So they mentioned cemetery policy reject, suggested vote 1 star. This is back when it was the 1 to 5 star rating system, so 1 star would be an instant reject vote from you. So they say reject unless the cemetery is historical or has special significance in the community. See guidelines for gravestones/markers. So for gravestones, they say policy reject, suggested vote 1 star. Reject unless the gravestone belongs to a famous/historic person or a notable member of the local community and is more than 50 years old, and community norms for the use of the cemetery are open to historic visits or other uses. So I want to bring that in because I remember when I first joined Ingress and got into submitting, the 50-year rule came around, and difficult to find out where it had come from. But people were like, yes, it's 50 years, definitely 50 years. Now that's obviously been dropped, but it has to be of a significant person, something that's not going to interfere, could be eligible. Obviously, the community will vote on it. You've got to say how it is eligible and how it meets the criteria on there when you're submitting it. That's going to be all from me for this week, folks. Hopefully next Recon one is a little less controversial after military bases and cemeteries. I think it probably playgrounds or benches next. I don't know if either of them will be divisive, but have to find out. And then obviously we'll have the results from the South Korea and the France anomalies as well. So we'll be able to see where the factions are at before we get into September. I'll also try and get some more bonus bits planned out when I'm, back to 100%. Nearly there, so should be all good. Hope you all have a great Sunday. Happy hacking, agents. Have a great day. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do that in a couple of ways. So the easiest way to support the podcast is via Patreon. So you can find it at patreon.com/Ingress Insights. And there's a free tier, a $1 a month tier, whatever that is in your local currency, and a $5 a month tier. You can check out what benefits those come with on the Patreon. One other thing you can do that's totally free that helps out a lot is rating the podcast on your podcast service of choice. So where you can leave a rating or leave comments, that always helps increase visibility. And then finally, you can follow us on various social media channels. We use most of them, but the best one to follow us on now is Blue Sky. So that's just ingressinsights.bsky.social. Search for Ingress Insights on Blue Sky, you'll find us on there. Finally, sharing the podcast with friends, family, other agents who want to listen and get updates, so it helps out and helps get interviews with various Ingress people or other game-related people to then increase visibility more. So anything you can do from those is great. Thanks again for listening, agents. Have a great day.
Intel package transferred.